Hi, welcome to Vicky Makes and Builds, and welcome back to Bazaar Town! I am so happy to be back in Bazaar Town with you all, and of course Donnalouise from For the Love of Puzzles, who is my co-collaborator on this awesome puzzle. So if you didn't see part one of this build, I would encourage you to go and watch part one of both mine and Donnalouise's videos. I'm going to link those in the description below. We've both been building this puzzle at the same time, asking each other questions as we've been going along, and comparing our methods, which, as it turns out, are very different from each other. And I personally think that's great because it's made it such a lot of fun. This part 2 video, we will be finishing the puzzle and answering the questions put to us in the part 1 videos. Some of you watching also asked us both questions in the previous live chat and in the comments, so I'm going to attempt to answer those as well. Before I dive into the puzzle and where I left things in part 1, I just want to thank Donnalouise so much for doing this with me. It's been one of the most fun collaborations I've done, and I've just really enjoyed the puzzle. It's been so great doing it along with you, and all the questions that you gave to me and everything. They've been really, really fun to answer. So I hope that I do get through them all and I haven't missed any. But if I do, you'll need to let me know. Okay, so now let's have a quick reminder of where I left the puzzle at the end of part 1. So you can see that I have mostly filled out sections from the outside of the puzzle. There are a couple of little floaty bits in the middle, but not as much as that right hand side and that left hand side and those blocks at the top. I just found with my initial sorts, those were the areas that were coming together the most. So it's looking quite tidy at the moment, but I don't think that it's going to stay that way for too long. So I had done a second wave of sorting, and at the end of part 1 I'd pretty much gone through all of those piles that I'd sorted in phase 2, but there was one pile quite big that I hadn't done yet, and that was all the bricks. So that is where I'm going to be kicking things off in this video, that big pile of brick pieces, in an attempt to try and fill out a lot of the gap in the middle of this puzzle, and all over the rest of the puzzle too. There are a lot of brick walls and houses and things in this puzzle. So here goes, kicking things off with the bricks. I hope you enjoy. Hello, Donnalouise. Okay, so your first question for me was, how was I going to approach this puzzle? What was my thought process initially, and did my approach change? And if so, how? Well, I can answer the first part of that here, and you probably already know from my first video, but my initial thoughts, honestly, were, where on earth do I start with this? I'm not a fan of sorting, but I have sorted every large piece count puzzle that I've ever done. I assumed I would do that with this, but the notion of sorting this image was a bit daunting. I felt like I would have too many piles and it would become overwhelming. I often don't have a sorting plan unless the image makes it very obvious, so I just opened up the bag and started sifting through the pieces, and it soon became clear to me that it was sortable, but not in its entirety from the start. So I used a method that I am calling phased sorting. I go through every piece like I'm sorting, but I don't sort every piece. If they're obvious, they'll get sorted. If not, they go back into the main pile. Sort of like a very organised version of my shuffle method. Did I change my approach? Well, we'll find that out at the end. Okay, so the bricks have been a slow process, but As I suspected, they have filled out a lot of gaps. So I'm just panning around the puzzle. The bricks are everywhere. There are brick houses, towers, steps, just little bits of wall. They're all over the puzzle. So there are little islands building up, and then there's a lot of areas where I've managed to just kind of expand out from what I've already built. So what I found was that because there was such a lot of pieces, I got a bit overwhelmed and I didn't really sort, but I did pick out obvious ones. So one of the ones that stood out the most to me was this one here. There's kind of a red hue to the bricks and they're tiny. So that stood out to me and I managed to put that together pretty quickly. Another one that stood out to me was this one here, and that is because this is tilted slightly to the right. And so the pieces were obvious because they went along the piece on an angle. So it was obvious that brick pieces that were a little bit slanted like that went with this house. Some of the pink pieces weren't too difficult to pick out, these kind of pinkish bricks. I found a lot of those pieces up there. And what I found was that they have like green rooftops, like there's like a green line. And I found quite a few of those and I thought, well, that's good. I'll separate those and I'll go and put those in the corner. But then what confused me was I seemed to have pieces that I thought went up there that just didn't fit. And then I realized that there's an area in the puzzle that's almost exactly the same as the buildings up there. And that is this bit down here. Also has green roofs. There's a building here with a little archway and a green window, and they've got the exact same one up there. There's even a cafe called Max's Cafe, and they've got the exact same one up there as well, and that's called Max's Cafe. So I was getting a wee bit confused to say the least, but then I discovered that there were two areas that were the same. But, you know, once I'd figured that out, I managed to get them in. So it's been a slow process. I haven't finished the bricks yet. What I did was I ordered them all by shape and I managed to get a few more pieces in, but it's just the bricks are becoming more and more generic looking and I'm starting to really slow down and kind of feel a bit like I want to move on to something else. So now that these are all tidied up, I'm just going to kind of submit those to the leftovers alongside these. They're my other leftovers from all of the piles that I've done. So there aren't too many. And what I think I'm going to do is move back over to the yellow pieces, which are also leftovers, but I had quite a few of them. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I have put some together that have bricks around the edge that I might possibly be able to slot in somewhere here now. And there's other areas of the puzzle that are quite big, that are yellow, that I still haven't done yet. So, for example, this here, around this house, and then this big tall yellow bit here. So I think now that I've got some little floating islands made out of the bricks, I can maybe start to attach some of these yellow pieces to them. I mean, in particular, some of these windows that I've already put together, and try and whittle down that pile now until there's not much left. I might go back and forth into these leftovers. I actually already have gone through a bunch of those and put a few greens in. A little bit of gap filling, might do that now and again. But yeah, generally I'm going to have a go at the yellow, see how that goes, see if I can get rid of a whole bunch, and keep chopping and changing back and forth to the bricks and the leftovers. And then once I've kind of exhausted that, I will need to go back to the remaining pieces that are not yet sorted and see what I can find in there, see if there's anything else I can sort, any other piles I can sort. And then I think really it's just going to be a lot of gap filling as this puzzle comes together. But yeah, pleased with progress so far. Slowed down on the bricks, but got a plan, going to move on to yellows. So your second question for me was the puzzle a gift or did I purchase it? And if I purchased it, then why did I purchase it? What attracted me to it? Okay, so it was a Christmas gift from 2023, but the friend who gifted it knew that it was one that I had my eye on. So I suppose I could answer the second part of the question as well, even though I didn't buy it for myself. I love cartoonish images on a puzzle. His images are just so surreal and quirky, and they're really fun. The busyness of his images makes them fun to puzzle, I think, and it's just a journey of discovery. They're also really bright and colourful and fantastical, and I'm a massive fan of fantasy, so that's a big thumbs up from me as well. I just think his artwork makes fun puzzles, so I had a strong feeling I was going to enjoy a 5,000 piece Colin Thompson, given how much I also love large piece counts as well. But I didn't just dive in with my eyes closed. I have done one Colin Thompson puzzle before this one. It was the 500 piece Ludicrous Library, and I loved it. So that was enough to convince me that I would enjoy his artwork on a larger puzzle as well. So that also answers your third question, which was, is this my first Colin Thompson puzzle? Well, no, it's not. I have done one before this one. Okay, so one of your questions for me was, can I rank my favourite types of puzzles and puzzle images? And this one I found tricky to answer. I had to really think about it because I like so many different types of images. But if I had to rank them, this would be roughly my list. So number one would be cartoon style puzzles, so images by Mordillo, for example, or Jean-Jacques Loup, like the ones I've done, the hay puzzles that I've done. Wasgage, I like those, that kind of image. I also like the Wasgage concept as well. Colin Thompson, obviously, and things like gaming puzzles, like Nintendo themed puzzles or anything like that. A lot of the Ravensburger challenge puzzles are quite cartoonish. There's a Mario one, there's an Animal Crossing one, and I love Disney puzzles as well. So cartoon style images are up there, probably at number one, I would say. A very, very close second would be animals and or like fish, kind of aquatic under the sea puzzles, which I sort of lump together with animals really. So obviously wildlife is a favourite puzzle of mine. I'm really enjoying that puzzle. I loved entering the bedroom. Lahaina Visions is one of my favourite puzzles. That's kind of underwater sea creatures and things like that. So yeah, number two would be animals and fish puzzles. Then number three would be fantastical images, like dragons and mermaids and things like that. Number four, brightly coloured collages. So I really enjoyed the Disney Museum, which would also come under cartoon puzzles, but it is a collage. I really enjoyed the recent Happily puzzle that I did, which was a lovely bright coloured collage. I do enjoy collage puzzles. Then at number five, I would say gradients. Number six, illustrations. Number seven, photos / still life. So in this category, I'm thinking things like the Abandoned series of puzzles. I think they're just fascinating images. Then number eight, I'd say scenery. I don't generally pick scenery type puzzles for myself to do, but I have done, for example, the Venice sunset, the 6,000 piece Venice sunset, and I loved that image. It was a really fun puzzle to build. And then at number nine, I would say like classical art type puzzles. So for example, I have a 6K Treffle, which is the Sistine Chapel, which is lovely, and I really do think I'll enjoy that puzzle, but it isn't a puzzle that I would naturally choose to do for myself. That was a gift. So I'd put that at number nine. And just, I want to sort of special mention things like puzzles from series or movies that I really, really enjoy. So the Universal puzzle, for example, the Star Wars 18K, which is my dream puzzle, the Witcher puzzle that I did, the Lord of the Rings puzzles, all of those, I would put those up somewhere between 1 and 2 as well. But there's quite a niche kind of category. It's just a certain set of puzzles that I particularly like because they're based on movies and things that I like. So yeah, that was quite detailed. Okay, so I am so close to finishing, but this puzzle is very gappy and the gaps are everywhere, so it's slow going now. I am getting up and sitting down a lot, I'm moving around the puzzle a lot, I'm trying to stay in one place as much as I can, and working in the middle of the puzzle, kind of this area here, has helped with that, but oh my... My pieces aren't really very sortable now, and I have almost gone through every one of the leftovers that I had, which are over here on this white board. So that's kind of yellows, greens, reds, light coloured pieces, any that were just sort of in the box that I've put together, and then these ones are my remaining brick pieces, of which there are not that many. And again, I've slowed right down and I'm just not finding where they go. So I'm going to give up on the leftovers and I am just going to try and fill out the rest of the puzzle with these, which is everything else that I haven't sorted. Now, at the moment, I'm tending to glance at the box and see a piece and know roughly where it goes. So, for example, I think this goes here. So I'm wondering about maybe going at it like that, just shuffling a bit. If I see a piece and I think I know where that goes, shove it in, and then until maybe I slow down, and that might happen quickly, I'm not sure, but if it does, I can always... No, that one goes there. Yeah, so I'm sort of doing it already, as you can see. So if it does slow down pretty quickly, then I can always shape sort and use this big whiteboard to do that. But yeah, I'm going to try and finish it off that way and probably use the poster a lot. I've been finding that I've been using Donnalouise's method, the puzzle piece treasure hunt, towards the end, because I've known, you know, what kind of piece it is, like a brick, but I have not had a clue whereabouts it goes, so I've had to be really using the poster a lot to find where pieces go. So I'm kind of using your method a wee bit, Donnalouise, but I don't really have much of a choice. I'm sort of past the point of sorting now, but I might do some sorting by shape. But apart from that, it's just a case of getting all the pieces in and getting it done. Next question. Why do I like doing large piece count puzzles? That's a good question, and I found it oddly hard to answer. There's just something about large piece counts that gives me a greater sense of satisfaction to puzzle than, say, a 1K. Don't get me wrong, I love all sizes of puzzle, from the wee Ravensburger moment puzzles and up, but seeing a larger image slowly form in front of my eyes is just next level satisfying for me. Also, they last longer. I'm doing them for longer, so I get so immersed in them. Like reading a great fantasy book, I can really get lost, and for a long time. It's kind of a journey doing a large puzzle. I have to strategize, I have to really get to know the puzzle, and it becomes a much more immersive experience because of that. The sense of achievement when they're completed is also immense, and they're just so amazing to look at when you're looking at the finished puzzle. They also come with their own set of puzzling challenges, and I just enjoy figuring out how to meet those challenges and overcome them. I finished it! Yes! Oh, I always feel a sense of accomplishment when I finish a large piece count puzzle, but this was just next level. I found this so crazy, so fun, so challenging, so intense. It just had a bit of everything and it felt so good putting that last piece in place. I just loved it. I really, really loved it. So, Donnalouise, I am aware I still have questions to answer that you have put to me, so I'm going to answer the rest just now in the outro. Firstly, let me finish answering your first question, which I started answering at the beginning of the video, and that was about my approach to the puzzle and whether or not it changed during the build. Well, I can say now that I pretty much stuck to my method of phased sorting throughout the whole thing. The only time I can really say that I stopped using that method was when the pieces were no longer sortable. They were just too miscellaneous, and that really was only right towards the very end. And actually at that point my technique changed to like something more similar to what yours is, and I was just looking for the pieces on the box and putting them in. So yeah, mostly I stuck with my method. Changed a tiny bit at the end, but not very much. And by and large, I was pleased with my method. It went well for me personally. Next question, what was my favourite scene in the puzzle? Well, I would have to say that it is this scene here. And the reason for that is because I love the hot air balloon, but I also love that this area is one of the few open areas in this puzzle. All of the sections on this puzzle are kind of compartmentalized, but so many of the boxes are jam-packed full of stuff, like this whole middle area, that it was nice to look at and puzzle a more open scene. Also, it may not be quite so jam-packed, but it's still so crazy with all the armchairs, each with their own wee house, and even the balloon has a house attached. I just really like it. And also, wouldn't you love to live in one of those houses? A cosy cottage on a cosy couch? I think that sounds perfect. And a similar question, do I have a favourite creature or critter in the puzzle, and why, and what would I name them? So, yes, I love this wee pair that pops up periodically around the puzzle. I don't know what they're supposed to be, humanoid type critters, but they're just so cute. And they look like they're having a blast just romping around this puzzle, enjoying the craziness of Bizarre Town. But I especially like them here, because I imagine that after an exhausting day of enjoying the wonders of Bizarre Town, they just want to chill and chat. And that is why I shall call them Donnalouise and Vicky. So, while I'm on the subject of things I liked or noticed about this puzzle, I found no less than 4 Cafe Maxes, or Max's Cafes, in this puzzle. And interesting fact, Michelle KB commented on my part 1 video on this puzzle, and she mentions that Max is apparently the name of Colin Thompson's beloved dog, and that is why the name crops up so often. According to Colin Thompson's website, which unfortunately does not seem to be working at the moment, the dog was half whippet, half mystery. But anyway, I really like that wee personal touch and the wee explanation behind all of the Cafe Maxes going on in the puzzle. Thank you for that, Michelle. I also loved how there were so many sets of wee beady eyeballs peering out from little dark corners. It makes you wonder who or what the eyeballs belong to. Are they up to mischief, or are they just scared of coming out? The wee gaps that they're in, they look small and dark, but maybe inside there's a bigger, larger Colin Thompson world to be explored further. I just loved that aspect about it, and they were all over the puzzle. And another thing I discovered were Colin Thompson's initials, which were more or less bang in the centre of the puzzle on a little wooden door, and it said CT 2014, which I believe is the release year of the puzzle, or at least the copyright year. So I was pleased to find that. Don't know if you spotted that, Donnalouise. And the last thing I wanted to do before I move on to the last question that you asked me is to read off some of the book titles, because my friend Betty has asked me if I will read a few more. So here goes. Now, I don't have the puzzle assembled anymore, I have it taped, but I do have the relevant ones with the books on sections in front of me. So I'm just going to read off a few of those. Now, the sections of books are kind of based along a theme. So the first wee shelf is to do with artists, I think. And so a few of the ones I can read, some of the titles are on kind of the joins and the puzzle pieces, so they're hard to read. But we have The Two Gentlemen of Vermeer, we have Magritte's Expectations, we have Warhol and Peace, we have Hockney and Cleopatra, and we have Matisse for Two. Then moving along a bit, we move on to more kind of tradesman type job themed book titles. So we've got The Merry Wires of Windsor, we've got The Valley of the Dowels, we've got The Loneliness of the Long Distance Plumber, we've got The Canterbury Nails, we've got The Mayor of Plasterbridge, and we've got The Merchant of Varnish. Then moving along a bit, I can't read many of these titles. This seems to be more of a kind of an alien sort of space theme, but we do have The Martian of Venice and Last UFO in Paris. Then there's a tree-themed set of books, The Grapes of Wrath, A Prune with a View. Oh no, wait, this is fruit, sorry. Grapes of Wrath, Prune with a View, Tale of Two Lychees, The Plums of Navarone. Then there's this tiny section about trees, The Lady Chatterley's Alder and Middle Larch. Back to the Suture. Oh, I think this is like medical procedures. Back to the Suture, The Seven Pills of Wisdom, The Puns of Avagrone. And then there's just a couple of books at the top. These ones seem to be food themed up here. And they are The Lion, the Witch and the Bacon and Anne of Green Peas. So there you go, Betty. Just a few of the book titles that I was able to read off the puzzle. I hope you enjoyed that. So the last question, Donnalouise, that I shall answer has to do with whether or not I would try the method that you used to build this puzzle, the pick and place method. Would I give it a go? And you almost set me a challenge to do it. So I accept your challenge and I did do it. And here's how I did. So I decided to try your method using another Colin Thompson puzzle, which I just happened to have. It had been gifted to me quite recently, actually, from Daryl and Leslie. And thank you again, guys, for sending me this puzzle. It's a Seco puzzle, and it's 750 pieces, and it's actually called Pepper Dreams, and it's like a section from the centre of the Bizarre Town puzzle. There are a couple of differences, but I won't go into detail about that here. I'll just talk about the pick and place method. I started out quite well, using the box, placing the pieces, just grabbing one out and putting it down, but I seemed to keep going off tack with it and moving out onto my shuffle method without really realising that that's what I was doing. So you can see at this point I'm starting to get piles of pieces that I'm pulling out and then putting them in and not really using the picture much. Now and again you can see I'm using it, but it mostly, I think maybe it was partially my familiarity with the image at this point, so it's perhaps a wee bit of a cheat doing this puzzle using this method, but also just once I'd got some areas started and I could see pieces and I knew where they went, I was just grabbing a whole bunch and putting them in. I ran out of patience for the pick and place method, I'm afraid, Donnalouise. It just wasn't naturally suited to me, and I just kept reverting back to other methods of doing it, and I was shuffling really more than I was doing the pick and place. I did a bit at the beginning and I did towards the end here. You can see I'm kneading the box more because I'm less certain about where the pieces go, even though there's less left. I tried it. I took up your challenge and it was fun, but it's not really my style. But it's fun watching it come together that way, though. I have to say, it's been really fun watching your video, Donnalouise, of the big puzzle coming together like that. I just wouldn't have the patience to do it on a 5,000 piece puzzle. There were just two more questions that were asked by two people that commented on, I think it was your video, Donnalouise, and the questions were for both of us. The first one was from Sandrad1451, and that was asking whether or not we often have multiple puzzles on the go at one time. Well, I can say definitely yes. I am often doing more than one puzzle at the same time. Usually that's because of the YouTube channel and just trying to keep up with various videos that I'm working on. But also sometimes I might be doing a puzzle for the channel and then maybe one that I'm just doing for pleasure off the camera. So yes, definitely have more than one, sometimes more than two puzzles on the go at a time. The second question was from Male Lone Wolf 80, and that was to do with lighting, whether or not we use diffuse light on the puzzles to stop glare spots. My answer to that is yes, I use two softbox lights in my puzzle room, and that diffuses the light, and it basically, I don't get any glare on the puzzles. I'm also able to point them in certain directions so they're not pointed directly at the puzzle. When I'm puzzling for pleasure in my lounge or somewhere, I actually have a specialised lamp for that, and that is a bulb that replicates daylight. So I suppose it's not natural light, but it's as close as I can get to it with a lamp. So they're the kind of lights I use. So I have to round it off there because I've been talking a lot and this video is going to go on for way too long. I want to say thank you so much for watching our videos on this awesome puzzle and for joining us in the live chat for the premieres. If you did, please leave a like on both the videos if you enjoyed them, and subscribe to our channels if you're not already. I'm going to link Donnalouise's videos in my description if you haven't caught them yet, as well as my part 1 video on this puzzle. Please leave your comments about the puzzle. Tell me your thoughts on it and what did you think of mine and Donnalouise's collaboration and our methods for building the puzzle. Consider joining the channel as a member if you're interested in getting extra content, and thank you so much to all of those who already are members of my channel. I really appreciate that. Finally, thank you so much for doing this with me, Donnalouise. I have really had a lot of fun. It's been a blast. I will see you in the next collaboration, and I will see you all in the next video. Happy puzzling! Bye!